Good evening. Welcome to my podcast or vlog, talking head. I don't know. It's only gonna be on video. My name is Dr. Chandra Smollett and I'm super excited to be here. I am a pharmacist, a mother, and a new anxiety coach. Even though anxiety is nothing new to me, the coaching of it is. So this podcast is gonna be about life and anxiety, but mostly about life, because no matter how much therapy we get, we have to deal with our anxieties, fears, worries 99% of the time. So I also want to talk a little bit about the financial space. I am new in trading options, so I do want to, I'm going to add that on, for anyone who is interested, any females out there who want to learn about options. So to start out, I have had anxiety for 22 years. My first bout of anxiety, which was a panic attack, was January 1st, 2000, Y2K. I don't know if it was the foil that was supposed to be on people's houses or heads or whatever that was making me feel a little anxious, but that night I had my first panic attack. Truth be told, I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. I'm not gonna say what, but I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, and that may have played a part in it. It probably played a huge part in it, but it was an isolated incident. It lasted, it's been going on for 22 years, so it can't just be that. But anyway, going back to that night, it was in Los Angeles. If anyone is familiar with King and Crenshaw, then you know what I'm talking about. We were in the hood. Me and my high school sweetheart went from high school in Rialto, California to college at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. So we didn't move very far, but still, I think we were like 18 and 19. For us, that was a big deal. We were moving in together for the first time. We were moving out of our hometown. We were moving away from our parents. So it was a lot. We lived in this shitty apartment. It was so shitty. It was called Woodlake Manor. Woodlake Manor, don't live there. I mean, this was 20 years ago, so maybe it's a lot better, but we had roaches and the water pipes were messed up. I remember one day I came home and all the electricity was out. I mean, that probably had nothing to do with the apartment complex, but still. There was like, where you park the car, walk down like a little alleyway, and then there was a section that was a stairwell. But I lived on the first floor, we lived on the first floor, so I would just walk through to the other side and then make a right, and the apartment was right there. But this day, there was no lights. This isn't the day I had the panic attack. This is another day, but I'll get back to that. They had no lights, and I was like, hell no, I'm not stepping in there. I remember looking through, and I couldn't find one little smidge of light. I didn't even want to shine my phone in there, because you never know. Someone could just jump down from, I don't know, the stairwell, or who knows. I didn't want to walk through it. I was nervous. So I left and ended up going to where my boyfriend was at the time, at Hollywood Video. He was working at Hollywood Video. Anyone remember that? Blockbuster Hollywood Video? Well, back then. Before Netflix. It's crazy. It's crazy how times have changed. So anyway, back to Y2K, January 1st, 2000. We decided we were going to stay home for New Year's. It was our first year living in LA. We were just going to stay home and not go out and party, not crazy. But in the hood, what do they do on New Year's? Shoot up everything. So that's kind of what happened. Like, literally, like, I'm trying to picture the living room. All I can remember really is that there was a huge sliding door next to a wall. So on the other side of the wall was a huge wall because there was another apartment complex on the other side of the wall. Someone was shooting a shotgun. Okay, so someone called. The shotgun went off and we hit the floor. Because what else do you do when shotguns go off right next to you? You hit the floor, right? And then I started having a panic attack. All I can remember is thinking and saying to myself, well, saying out loud actually, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Like over and over, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And then it's like I could feel everything rising, then like a little burst. And then everything like went down and I felt really, really cool all of a sudden. And it was gone. And I don't remember how long it lasted. I feel like it was a long time, but probably because it was the first one. But yeah, that was the beginning. And ever since then, I've been having panic attacks. Well, I haven't had one recently. Well, I did. I had a small one, like almost 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't taking care of myself. Back to that some other time. So after that, so we lived in that apartment complex for a year. My dog is walking around. We lived in that apartment complex for a year, and then we went to school housing because I couldn't do it. It couldn't be my first year of college, having a whole apartment with a whole man living in the apartment. You know, we're playing house and I'm in a private school as a biology chemistry major. I damn near failed out because I literally damn near failed out because I was doing too much. Like I got a letter like, you better pull your GPA up. First semester, I was like, this is crazy. So I did end up graduating and going back for a whole nother 4 years for my doctorate. So it was fine, but it was crazy at the moment. Like we didn't really ever drink, but we started drinking during that year that we lived there. Probably because we were stressed because we were in the hood. And we were drinking Bacardi, of all things. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. I think it was like Bacardi and Coke. I don't even know why we were doing this. But yeah, we had a lot of things happen that time we were in that apartment. We had a huge fish tank with fish. The fish used to jump out the fish tank onto the floor. That was probably anxiety provoking as well. I used to get in arguments with the guy who ran the office of the place because at first we didn't have a parking space. I didn't have my own parking space for like a long time. And I'm like, dude, like the where you park is inside, it's gated, but I didn't have space. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Anxiety provoking. Roaches, definitely anxiety provoking. I remember I bought this like, I thought I saw a fly. And I remember I bought this like gel, like this roach bait gel, and put it around the bottom of the kitchen. And they died. Like this shit was amazing. It was so good. I mean, I've never had to use it again, but I just remember like, whoa, that was crazy. Yeah, so after that year, that very interesting year, we went to school housing. We were at Troy, well, we were in Troy East, and we happened to it was weird because every time we changed places to live, we always like ended up in the same building. But our second year of school, we broke up. I'll never forget, he broke up with me the day before Valentine's Day and told me when he sees women in little skirts, he wants to F them. The day before Valentine's Day. My high school sweetheart. Could you imagine? It's wonderful. And the next day had the nerve to give me a rose and was upset and hurt that I didn't want it. Okay. But I will say my grades went way up. Way up. After that, after moving out, breaking up, I was single for at least that year. Okay, so sophomore year, single. I remember during that time was an easier time for life because I was single and just in school, just being a college student. I remember living in this apartment with 3 other girls because that was school housing. And one day being in the shower having an anxiety attack, a panic attack, and thinking, why does this keep happening like times when I'm like relaxed? It never happened when I was like really stressed about something. It always happened when I was, already chill, like not even getting chill, already like in a chill space. And that was always, a lot for me. But I guess when I think about it now, I think, well, since the sympathetic nervous system is always kind of there, it's always on, the times when I was probably stressed, like with studies or things like that, I was probably moving so much I didn't even pay attention to the fact that my heart was racing or, my chest felt tight as much as when I was relaxed. And the anxiety, the panic disorder, the anxiety disorder that I was starting to get was, I could just feel it when I was relaxed because I was already like in a chill space. And then all of a sudden it kept going through a cycle, which it does. So when we think about anxiety, we think about it being worry, fear of, you could say, the unknown, of the future, of things from the past. But it's really just not being mindful of what's happening right now. It's always thinking about what could go wrong, something like that. So the sympathetic nervous system is a part of the peripheral nervous system, which branches off of the central nervous system, the CNS. So you have your sympathetic nervous system, which is always on. It's always on alert because it needs to protect us from dangers, anything out there, rapists, cars, dogs with rabies, messed up men, like they're there. Sorry, men. It's there to help us get through these situations. And everyone has heard of fight or flight. You can also add freeze on there because sometimes we don't know what to do. We hide. We run away, we fight, or we hide. This is always on. There's a lot of hormones moving through the sympathetic nervous system. I could go through it all, which it's not really that complicated of a model, but it can always be Googled. But basically, it turns on, the adrenaline starts pumping, flowing, our body gets set for war, or to just live, survive. Things happen, our heart rate starts increasing, our breath starts increasing, oxygen is flowing everywhere, so to our muscles, so they can be used more and they're stronger. Our eyes are sharper, our ears are sharper. We're just turning into like little machines, you know? And then when we have these disorders, we need to try to bring our body back into balance by turning on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest or digest. But basically, it turns all that stuff off. Well, your body turns it off in other mechanisms, but it leans towards the rest and digest side. And just thinking about that, I don't know, this pops into my mind. One of the girls that was in that apartment that I lived in, one day her vibrator was just like in the bathroom. And it's not even weird to have a vibrator. I just think in college, I think when you're a college student, you don't really have vibrators as much, maybe, because there's so much opportunity to have sex everywhere. Everywhere. It was Los Angeles, like USC, like, yeah, there was ass running around all over the place. So anyway, that was funny when I think back to it. To kind of summarize this little first episode up, I'm gonna continue with college later. I have been dealing and thinking about anxiety for 22 years, and I'm super passionate about helping people, primarily women. And I say primarily women only because I'm a woman and I understand women more than I do men. And I do feel that men equally need help and coaching with anxiety. And I am definitely going to give my thoughts and give notes and things to try for men as well, because they're very, very important. I just am not a man, so, you know what I mean? I'm also a mother, so I'm also going to throw in some mother things, because until you're a mother, you really don't know too much about children, I've realized, because people will come into the pharmacy and asking me about their child, and I would think to myself, not a clue, I don't know. But now it's a lot different. My baby is 2, almost 3 years old. Light of my life. No. Miss Ocean Storm. Yes, Storm is her middle name. I know. It's different, but I like it. Everyone was asking me, what's gonna be her middle name? Sky, Ocean Blue, Ocean. My sister wanted, Letitia, I don't remember what your middle name is right now. Ocean Elaine, my mom's middle name. No. Ocean Storm. So anyway, I just want to, I want this to be a safe space. I know people always say that, but seriously, like a safe space to share. The focus here is on positive ways of dealing with anxiety, because anxiety is really good for us. It's something that we need in our life, and we don't want to get rid of it. We just want to make sure that it doesn't get into a loop that we can't break. But we want it. Every day we want anxiety. It helps us reach our goals. It helps us be great people. It helps us do so much of what we want to do. Like, you want to accomplish something. I want to accomplish this anxiety coaching. The anxiety kind of revs up a little bit, and it's good. It allows me to keep going. So, cheers to anxiety. And my new podcast, vlog, talking head thing, I don't know, whatever it's called, which I don't really have a name yet. I wanted to call it This Anxiety Life, but as I was reading other podcasts that had the word anxiety in them, I was like, nah, it's not gonna work. So I'll let the name come as I go. But for now, tune in, Please share any of the positive ways you deal with your anxiety. No matter how like crazy you think they might be. Like some of the ways I started dealing with my anxiety it was like real stuff and I just didn't know. I was just trying them and I was like, oh, that makes me feel better. And I would just keep on doing it. And then I'd read about it later, like, that's a real thing. So I just want to share those things. I have a Facebook group called the Fear Fighter Group and I have a book. Book is called Fighting Fear, Understanding Generalized Anxiety Disorder and Panic Disorder in Minority Women. Minority women because I'm also a minority and we go through extra stuff that other women may not go through. And that's fine, but sometimes we need a little bit more help. And I want to be here to do that. So I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you in the future.